Hi, I'm Bill Arnold. Thank you for listening to this podcast. There are many more podcasts available at myfaithradio.com. Your support makes this possible. Thank you.
And the warmest of welcomes, the warmest of afternoons. This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold, and my name is Ben, filling in again today. And it's hour 2 of Afternoons with Bill Arnold. We're in the final hour of our one-child sponsorship drive, and there are children still waiting, still needing a sponsor. In fact, there is one right now that I'm looking at. Her name is Nydam Al-Grabari, and she's 9 years old, and she lives in Lebanon. She is so cute. She's curious, energetic, intelligent, rambunctious, very talkative. She looks talkative. Her birthday is September 8th. She loves balloons, and she loves kites and dolls and puzzles. She loves dancing, drawing, playing hide and seek. Most important person in her life is her mom, and she's thankful for her child champions. She wants to be a decorator when she grows up. She does look like she's got a little bit of sass in her. She's got just a nice little outfit going on. And she's just waiting for you. She really is. She said the best part of going to the Hope Center that has changed her life is because she has clothes now. She's got clothes. The child champions at the center are so important to her because she says they encourage me. I've never heard that I'm worth it, that I can be what I want to be when I grow up. So far, one of her favorite activities at the Hope Center is acting in a play. Maybe you like acting. Would you sponsor Nydam? It's Naghamal, and then her last name is Gherbawi. You can search by country, Lebanon, or you can search by female, and you can find her. She would be an awesome pen pal and a little child that you can sponsor and champion and change her life. She just looks like she's going to be doing something awesome. This is your opportunity, your one moment for one child. My name is Ben, in for Bill today, and I'm here with Amanda, our engagement director, and Wyatt's here as well. Let me tell you the phone number, and we're really praying for 10 kids this hour. That means it's going to have to be you. You've got to be involved, otherwise I'm not sure that we're going to get to 10 kids. But here's the phone number. They'll talk you through everything, answer all your questions, lead you to who you want to sponsor or who you're looking for, what you feel led to, where God is leading you. The phone number is 800-864-0200. I'll say it one more time. 800-864-0200. Or you can go meet Nydam at myfaithradio.com, or Samuel's still there. We've been talking about him all afternoon, praying that somebody sponsors him, somebody's his champion. He's an 11-year-old boy from Haiti, loves playing with balls and playing cops and robbers. And now I'm a child champion. I sponsor a child. Wouldn't ask you to do anything that I don't already do. It is a game changer, a life changer. Amanda, you do the same thing.
Yes, I do.
You had the opportunity to take a trip to Nicaragua just this last fall. You sponsor, is it a girl?
Yes.
Is it a girl? Okay. And have you had the opportunity to have letters back and forth with her yet? Or
Actually, I haven't because I've just newly sponsored her. So we're not even to that point yet. They kind of ease you in.
Okay. It is awesome. It is a game changer. I know that when we get letters in our mailbox, my almost 4-year-old daughter, my wife and I, we run to the couch and we sit down and I can't even imagine Adecha is the little girl that we sponsor in the Dominican Republic. What she does when she gets a letter and she gets a little picture that my little daughter has drawn for her, and they draw pictures back and forth, and there's this relationship. And I literally can't wait to meet her someday. I'm praying and I'm believing that I'm going to meet her someday as she grows up, and I pray every morning that she grows up to do great things in Jesus' name. You can change a life for only $39 a month. I love what our guest said yesterday about our extra, the extra that we might have, that we can find here in the United States, is absolutely everything for this one child. 800-864-0200 or myfaithradio.com. Tell me about your trip to Nicaragua and what was probably the most surprising thing for you, because you probably had no idea what to expect as you're traveling down there.
You know, I was so pleasantly surprised, and I just loved the fact that we went down there and I learned the fact that every Hope Center is built within a church. So there's a church there first. They're doing amazing things. There's adults that are loving on kids. They have a program. They have volunteers. They have a pastor leading them. And then one child comes alongside and says, here, we want to help you do more. Because, when you read those little bios on those kids, they talk about the Hope Center. They talk about Child Champions. They get to be there. They're not sponsored yet. These churches are doing good things for kids, even without one child. But when one child has a child sponsored and that material, those resources are added into the pot, they can do so much more.
It's like fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Right? These child champions, the reason that we're called, and you're called a child champion, is because you come alongside with your $39 a month. You provide food and nutrition and sometimes shoes or maybe even a bed for these kids and these families. And you come alongside these churches and these pastors and you help them do amazing things, all for the sake of Jesus and all for the sake of these kids. My name is Ben. We're asking you to take one moment for one child. The phone number is 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. I'm looking at Nydam. She's a 9-year-old girl from Lebanon. She wants to be a fashion designer when she grows up. And she is just waiting for you to sponsor her. Farron Dice from One Child has
so good to be here, and I had to come in and tell you this.
What's going on?
There's always a story that I find out about, and things that, Amanda, this is going to wreck you because it's wrecking me right now. You guys have met Sundeep.
Yeah.
Sundeep was on the radio here
This morning.
a little bit earlier today, telling his story growing up in Calcutta, India. And I've known a lot of those details before, but he just told me, and it was just a random comment. So he's a young boy, and just like many of these kids on the radio website right now, myfaithradio.com, young boy growing up in Calcutta, India. Nobody had ever touched him before he came to the Hope Center.
Wow, nobody had ever even hugged him.
Nobody hugged him. And so I'm like, every time I hear one of these stories, like, I got to tell somebody else. We don't understand what's going on in some of these kids' lives. So think about one of these kids. Maybe they've never been hugged or told they can be somebody. They're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Nobody ever touched him.
Not even a reassuring touch from his mom. It's going to be okay. Skinned his knee. It's going to be okay, honey. No touch.
Some of that's
at all.
cultural, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to even presume my
but still.
own cultural values, but you get the idea here.
Yeah.
That we're doing something special at the Hope Centers. We touch the kids. We hug them. Amanda and I hugged some kids
I got
hard.
so many hugs. When we were at the first Hope Center, we went to church there the last day as well. And during offering, there was crazy worship going on, drums going on, people get up dancing. They're going through the aisles. Other people are grouping up and praying on each other. I think I hugged half of the congregation.
She did.
During that time.
She's a hugger.
And-
She's amazing.
And the joy there is so evident. And that's because Jesus is there.
But the thing is, you guys, the thing that I found the most amazing, by the way, we're taking one moment for one child. You have the opportunity to be their champion. You will change their life. And I promise you, your life will be changed too. $39 a month. The phone number is 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. But the stark difference, Amanda, from inside and outside those walls, the dark, the depravity, the all the things that we're protecting against, that we're worried about for our own safety as people who are traveling down into an area that we've never been before and seeing things we'd never seen before. And then the exact opposite, upside down, hope-filled joy, kindness, tenderness. Jesus, like you said, inside these churches, inside these Hope Centers. And it's our heart to get as many kids from those neighborhoods and those dark and terrible situations into the Hope Center so that they can feel the touch, the encouraging touch of kindness, even just an arm around a shoulder to say, hey, bud, you have a chance now. You can be what you want to be. Jesus, God has created you in his image. He has a plan and a purpose for his life. We're going to help you go out there and do it and pull yourself and your family out of these extreme situations. But the stark difference between the two, would you explain those? Because it was shocking to me.
Well, The only explanation is Jesus was inside the Hope Center. And outside the Hope Center, these people are living fight or flight. They're just trying to make it. And can I tell you that these child champions, these people in these churches that are running these centers, they are the most passionate, joy-filled people. We got to meet some of the ladies who have served snack in a Hope Center for 20 years.
Wow.
That is not a very glamorous job anywhere. And they faithfully show up because they love their kids. They love their neighbors because they love Jesus. How can we not want to partner with these amazing Christians around the world, our church, our people, and give them the resources to fuel what they're doing? Oh, I know it's not going to be us talking people into anything. Like that's not what we're all about.
Right.
We just want to share our passion.
Correct.
And I hope Jesus and the Holy Spirit are just knocking on some hearts right now, because it's going to make a life or death difference for some of these kids.
Eternal
difference.
life or death difference. Scott Todd, the president of One Child, was on Afternoons with Bill just last hour. And what was the question that he kept asking, that he asks himself, Wyatt?
Was it the hope, the double hope, or the other?
The question that when he saw and he goes, God, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do? Yeah, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You want me to sponsor this child? If you're listening right now, will you ask God that question? Will you pray about it? God, do you want me to sponsor a child? I've been listening all week. I've been listening all day. Maybe you just turned on the radio station after a long, busy day, and you think, oh, another thing. When you take just this one moment, because there is one child that I believe God has in mind just for you. He's hoping to work together with you to change their life. And we talked a lot about trust this last hour. Can you trust God for $39 a month? Because for us, I'm sure we can scrape together some things, even if things are tight. $39 out of our extra is absolutely everything for these kids. Absolutely everything. The phone number is 800-864-0200. You guys, I don't see Samuel. We've been talking about 11-year-old Samuel from Haiti on the board anymore. It's because he has been sponsored.
Let's go! Praise God!
Sponsored! William from
Life
Mounds
change.
View, Minnesota. Thank you
Life change.
thank you for changing Samuel's life. I believe your life will be changed too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he says, and listen to what William says. Thank you for this sponsorship drive and opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for giving, William. Thank you for being a champion. We are praying for 9 more kids this hour. That's going to take you and a couple other people in the next 15 minutes. Would you pray about it? Would you pick up the phone? Would you have a conversation with one child? See what the possibilities are. Again, the phone number is 800-864-0200. You can meet these kids. The next kid, the kid that I've been praying about all afternoon, in addition to William from Haiti, is Leo Han from the Philippines. We've been talking about him for, most of the day today. He's an 11-year-old boy from the Philippines. He's the next one that I'm praying for that doesn't go to bed tonight without knowing that he has a sponsor, that he has a champion, that he has somebody who loves him.
Just think of where he is right now in his development. He's 11 years old. Mm-hmm. He's about to decide what he's all about. And you have an opportunity to pour into his life through another Christian you're never going to meet, to help character development, to give him a focus, help him set goals, help him with his schoolwork. Maybe he's not able to go to school. Maybe through the Hope Center is going to be his only chance at education. And he's 11. So he's kind of hitting that point in his life where he's going to decide what he's all about. Can you share Jesus with him? With his family, with his neighbors? The ripple effects and the stories that we've heard of one child getting sponsored, being a part of a Hope Center, and then the parents going, what is this all about? This is some good stuff.
Right. I want some of that.
I want some of that. I'll show up to church.
Yep.
These are amazing people doing amazing things for my kids, things I couldn't do for them.
And the ripple turns into a wave. And then the world changes. And it all starts with the phone call. 800-864-0200, 800-864-0200, or at myfaithradio.com. His name is Leo Han. He's 11 years old. His birthday is May 26th. He wants to be in the Army when he grows up. Will you help him? Will you sponsor him? I want to share a story. When I took the trip down to the Dominican Republic with one child, I had the opportunity to talk to a pastor who cried constantly. His heart was so tender. He was one of the most amazing people. I'll never forget him. His glasses were kind of like this, to the sideways. You can tell he didn't have a lot, but he had a lot of heart. And he loved Jesus like crazy. He had a dream. I can't wait to tell you his dream and what happened in his dream and how his dream came true. Next on Faith Radio, this is Afternoons with Bill Arnold, and we're asking you to take just one moment for one child. $39 a month, a child waiting for you right now to be their champion. 9 more children we're praying for to be sponsored this hour. The phone number is 800-864-0200, and all these kids are waiting for you right now at myfaithradio.com.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, and right now there are kids in desperate need of Jesus. Food and medical care. This is your time to become their champion, to change their life. When you sponsor just one child, you plant seeds of hope in their heart, and you work together with people on the ground to change the families, communities, and the future of these kids. You might not be able to change the world, but for one child, you can change theirs. Meet the kids. Find your child at myfaithradio.com.
One moment.
One moment.
One child.
One child.
At the Hope Center, learn that I can always pray for my family's needs. Once I prayed and God provided us with milk, rice, soap, and even clothes and a pillow, and even my very own bike. God does provide.
Amen. Yemuel, that's his name. He lives in a small bamboo house in the Philippines. His dad is a construction worker, and he was laid off. And his dad was working, back-breaking hours and doing all of these things and not making a lot of money. But since he's been laid off, his family has just been struggling. But if there's one thing that Yemuel has learned from the Hope Center, it's always to pray to God for his family's needs. And that's what God says, right? Don't worry about anything, but instead pray about everything. Don't you just love it that this child learns about prayer? These kids are learning to pray. They're learning about God. And then they see the evidence of answered prayer. Isn't that the most amazing thing is you see your kids or your grandkids understand and experience answered prayer, and their eyes just are, they're absolutely flabbergasted. Sometimes a bike can be an answered prayer. Sometimes it's a pillow. God's taking care of Yemuel, and God might want you to be part of the answer to his prayers. And we're talking today about so many kids that live in the Philippines or Kenya, Latin America, Nicaragua. Amanda, that's where you had the opportunity to go visit just a couple of months ago. India, the Middle East. So many of these kids need a sponsor. We're praying for 9 more this hour. But what about you? Can you sponsor one child? Your $39 a month will change their world. This is your one moment for one child. Leohan John Bastasa, 11 years old from the Philippines. May 26th is his birthday. He wants to grow up to be in the military. Would you help him do that? You look at this, like it says, what's his personality? What are his favorite toys? What are his favorite activities? His favorite toy is a rubber band. I think about all the things that I used to do with a rubber band when I was a kid, but that's his favorite toy because he lives in extreme poverty. There aren't Paw Patrol games. There's not PlayStations or Xboxes.
No.
There's none of that.
No.
He loves this rubber band.
Isn't that just amazing how these kids, though, they can just find such joy in the small and little things? It's incredible.
We were just talking about it. Amanda had the opportunity to go to Nicaragua. I was along the Haiti border, and I have never seen eyes like I see with these children in the Hope Center. Mm-hmm. Some of these people that have been on Faith Radio, whether it's Sundeep, who grew up in Calcutta, in the streets of Calcutta, and Farron was just here from one child saying that Sandeep was 5 or 6 years old and had never been touched, not even by his mom. And then Darth, who was on with Susie today, this afternoon, who grew up in the killing fields of Cambodia and the torture that he went through. But they're here at the radio station today, and their eyes are different. They're unlike anything I've ever seen before. Do you see the same thing, Amanda?
God has redeemed. And each one of these kids in hard places who need hope, God can do amazing things. He can minimize trauma with his love and his care. And there are people there on the ground, willing, ready, waiting, hoping to share that love and that message of Jesus.
Angels on earth.
Angels on earth, for sure.
Never seen people like this before. Unbelievable. And they're just asking for just a little bit of help. $39 a month to partner with them. Amanda's in, I'm in, a whole bunch of people on Faith Radio are in, your favorite hosts are in. Will you be in? Will you take this moment to sponsor one child, to be their child champion? Still praying for 9 more. Well, the phone number is 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. Can we have 4 more in the next 9 minutes? Now, that's going to be you and 3 other people, but it's not going to happen without you. You can meet these kids, read their stories, whether it's Leo Han, who loves his rubber band in the Philippines, or maybe you're called to sponsor somebody else. There's a child waiting for you at myfaithradio.com. This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold. My name is Ben. I'm here with Amanda, our engagement director at Faith Radio, and Wyatt's here. When I was on my trip to the Dominican Republic and the Haiti border, and I met this pastor that I was telling you about a couple minutes ago, and he only had one stem on his glasses, like the extreme poverty. Like he needed glasses to see, and they were just kind of like diagonal on his face, and he was just a character, and the guy was just crying constantly because he had such a tender heart. But he said that, I said, how did you find yourself here in this situation as a pastor of this church, of these kids that you love so much, it was out in the countryside of the Dominican Republic, outside of a town called Dajabon, out just down the street and the road from the Haiti border. And it was a tough spot, really tough spot. How'd you find yourself here? And he said he was living in the big city, Santiago, and he had a dream that God came to him in a dream that there was buried treasure in Dajabon. And he said the dream was so full of riches, it was like heaven. That I was being called to come to Dajabon. And he said, I'd never been to this part of the country before. I had no idea what it was like. So I picked up my family and we moved because we're trusting God. And I get here and I'm looking for treasure. And there is no treasure. He's a pastor at this point, but he's like, there's no treasure here. There's not even running water in this situation. And he starts crying. And he said, I found the treasure. And he points across this really busy highway. That's the treasure right over there. The Hope Center, the church, these kids, these families. That's the treasure. Not a treasure by anybody's standards. There's Haiti people there. There's Dominican Republic people there. They don't get along. 2 different languages. There's extreme poverty. There's death and disease. There's trafficking, drug running, all sorts of things that you see that are like, whew. Houses are dilapidated, falling apart. Smells. People going to the bathroom outside just randomly. Like all of these things that you go, that is not a treasure. But he is pouring his life into these kids, into this Hope Center, because God has given him that treasure. And he's sobbing as he's telling me this. This is my treasure. This is my treasure. This is my treasure. And I wanted to be like, I'm going to go back to Faith Radio and tell absolutely everybody about the difference that you're making in inviting people, advocating for people to join you in what you're doing, because you are all in. And the least that we can do is to help you with $39 a month to get another child in there, because you want to bring in all of these children. He sees treasure in the trash heaps. So would you help this pastor? Your children waiting for you right now in his community that he's not able to bring into his Hope Center because he doesn't have the resources. But he's praying, he's on his knees every single day, every single night, giving. Not only is he a full-time pastor, but he's also then, he's kind of like a social worker. He's all of these other different jobs that he has as he's going around ministering to these families, helping them with their needs, and whether it's getting another bed for their family, or it's getting shoes for the kids, or food. There were pastors like this all over the place, and I'm sure you encountered them too in Nicaragua, Amanda, that are all in, giving all of themselves, sacrificing all these child champions who are volunteering and giving their days for these kids because they are seeing the fruit of their labor. They are seeing how God is changing hearts, changing families, changing communities. And it's all because they trust and give, and they're obedient, and they sacrifice.
Yeah. One of the pastors I met was just overwhelmed again, like you said, that this gives them opportunity to take Jesus into the neighborhood.
Right.
How can you turn down a loaf of bread and rice for your kid?
Can't.
I mean, it's just love. And when you take care of someone's needs and the necessities they have and you bless their children, you have their ear and maybe their heart. Tell them about Jesus. And this pastor you met, oh man, it brings tears to my eyes that someone is so devoted and on fire and filled with God's love, because that's the only way you can do what he's doing. He's giving all. His family is sacrificing.
Oh.
He got up and moved.
Yeah.
Those are big sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of these Hope Centers has been built within or in conjunction with a church that has people like this that care so deeply because God has just given them this vision, this mission, and the love and the energy to do it, because I have a feeling they're not working 8-hour days.
Right. I love what you said there. By the way, 4 more friends needed, 4 more kids needed to be sponsored here in the next 3 to 5 minutes. Will you get on the phone? Will you call? Will you make it possible for these pastors to go to these doors with bread and rice, to knock on their doors? Will you give them tools to share the gospel? Because that's really what it's all about. But these kids are I don't know how you say it, but they're ripe for the taking, whether they're going to be taken by the dark forces or they're going to be sheltered by the Hope Centers. And these pastors, you give them tools to go into these neighborhoods with a loaf of bread and some rice, and then they can knock on the door and say, "Here, I don't know you, but I love you, and I love you because Jesus loved me first. Let's have a conversation." And then they keep showing up, and they keep showing up, and they keep showing up. Will you help? Will you take just one moment for one child today and call this phone number, 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. We're praying for, let's see here. We're praying for 4 more kids. 4 more kids in the next couple of minutes. That's you and 3 others. To call 800-864-0200 or go to myfaithradio.com. This is your moment to make a difference, to change a life, and maybe change your life in the meantime too, in the most amazing ways, in an adventurous way that you can't even imagine. This is Faith Radio, Afternoons with Bill Arnold. I'm Ben Holson here, and I'm here with Amanda Nydam. And Wyatt, how do I say your last name?
No, we're just on a first name basis.
Just kidding. Okay, Wyatt. Sorry. This is Faith Radio.
It's one moment for one child.
Where I live, the days are spent picking through trash, searching for anything that can be eaten or sold. My whole life, I felt trapped, like there was no way out of being a poor trash picker. I wondered if anyone cared. I don't have to wonder anymore. My name is Rahul, and I am a sponsored child. Instead of picking trash, now my days are spent learning. It feels like home to me.
Oh, what a sweet gift someone gave to Raul. You know, I don't know of anyone who would look at their own children or look at their neighbor's children and just say, "Oh yeah, go pick some trash. You're hungry? Go dig through the trash." That's not what any of us want for any child. Just think of the difference you could make for a different little boy or little girl who are picking trash right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how they're supplementing. Maybe that's their only way to eat. You could send them to a Hope Center. You could sponsor them for $39 a month. You could connect with them over letters. You could learn more about them. You could pour into them. Think of the advice and care you could share with this child. I can tell you they would be listening and they would care back.
That's so true. You know, Raul's story sticks out quite a bit to me. My name is Ben. This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold, here with Amanda Nydam from our engagement team at Faith Radio, and Wyatt, who refuses to tell me his last name, even though I know it's Morel, by the way. It's a great last name.
Thank you.
I met a child in the Dominican Republic on our trip that went to the dump to get food for their family every day. That was his job. And I think about the trash at my house in the kitchen and the things that I put in there, and oftentimes how it starts to smell, and I'm like, honey,
I'll take this out for you.
Well, yeah. Something
okay.
reeks in here. What is it? And she's like, it's probably the garbage. I'm like, okay, thank you. My bad. I didn't take it out. I needed to take it out. But I always have to ask her because she's the smartest person in the house as far as I'm concerned. But it stinks, right? And so, but they go to these dumps where there's birds and there, bugs and all of these things, and they're scraping stuff off that who knows how long that they've been there. I don't even want to eat the stuff that I've recently just thrown away, let alone going to my then trash can outside sitting there for the 5 to 7 days until the trash person comes up, and then they put it in that truck, and then they mush it together, and then they mix it with everybody else's garbage, and then they take it. And their job is to, because their family has nothing, they live in extreme poverty, and oftentimes their parents are working before the sun even comes up, and they come home before the sun comes down. They're exhausted. They're making less than $2 a day, both the mom and the dad. And the kid's job is to go to the dump and get dinner or get food for their brothers and sisters and their parents. And that's what they come home to. And I can't even imagine that. And we see the food that is given at the Hope Centers, and it's not a 5-star meal, but it is nutrition. It's nourishment. And they get vital medical care. They get the valuable life skills. But they're in Bible study, learning about Jesus, reading, I read with my child the Jesus Storybook Bible. They're having these awesome disciple formulation classes to just learn about Jesus, and then they find hope. And the lives change because, like you talked about, there's food, and then there's shoes, and then there's socks, and then there's a shirt. And then there's a letter from you and a picture of you. And they keep that picture. Friend, we're praying for 9 more friends to become child champions this hour. We're down to 24 minutes, and the whole One Child fundraiser sponsorship drive is over. Would you call right now, 800-864-0200? Your $39 a month might seem like a lot for you, but I'm promising you, for them, it is absolutely everything. It's hope. It's a future. It's letting them know that somebody thinks about them in a positive way, in an encouraging way. Whether it's Leohan, this 11-year-old boy who I keep looking at from the Philippines. He's standing there. He's got jeans on. He does have socks. A lot of these kids don't have socks. His favorite toy is a rubber band, because that's what he finds joy in out of his extreme poverty. This is your opportunity right now to change his life. So what do you say? Will you do it? Will you team up with us here at Faith Radio and our friends at One Child? Spread the gospel to the ends of the earth, baptize them, disciple them, teach them to obey God's commands, and watch what God does with their life and impacts their family and their community and changes the world.
And Ben, when I was in Nicaragua, there's one story, there was one event that really hurt my heart in the best way possible. But can I say that you sponsoring a child listener, you sponsoring a child today could make all the difference for them. When I was in a Hope Center in Tapatía, Nicaragua, we were kind of at the end of our visit, and I was sitting next to a couple little girls sitting on stairs. And one of the leaders came by and said, could we have some people pray? I, of course, got up and said, yeah, I'd love to pray. And they had told us that there was a son and daughter and 2 cousins, 2 girls, 2 boys, where the mom had ended her life the night before. The night before, like hours before.
Wow.
And they showed up to the Hope Center because where else are they going to go?
Right.
And these leaders ushered us back to the stairs, and I got to sit next to these 2 little girls, and my heart hurt so badly. Because you can say, oh, yeah, there's this many orphans in this city. There's this many, people that have been abandoned. There's, you can share those statistics, but when you're looking into someone's big brown eyes, and they were about 10 or 11 years old, and you understand that their really, really hard life just crashed. Oh, it hurts. And then I realized, thank God that all 4 of these children were sponsored. Thank God that he had set them up with Christians and a community that's going to enfold them and help them and guide and direct them and love them and not let them fall through the cracks, because this is a neighborhood where drugs and abuse and trafficking ran abound. And I just can't imagine if these kids weren't sponsored, if they weren't a part of this program, if they weren't connected to this church, where they would be right now. It was just a couple months ago that I was there. But because someone else had reached out and said, you know what, I'm gonna do something outside of myself. I'm gonna sponsor kids. I don't know if they all had the same sponsor. Probably 4 different families or people had sponsored these 4 kids. And they set them up. God used them. God could have used other people, but he used them to make a community and surround these kids. Talking to the child champions later, they said they were already talking with a counselor. They talked with grandma. They were gonna do everything they could to be aunties and uncles and keep pointing these kids to Jesus. And as much as my heart hurt, I knew that these kids, for their circumstance, were in the best scenario they had. They had people surrounding them that loved them, and more importantly, loved Jesus. And we're going to do everything they could for them. But they were set up well. God had arranged this. And so maybe God has a plan for you to be a lifeline to some other little kid. And these are kids in hard places. Their story is not a unique one. There's drugs, there's gang activity, there's crazy poverty, and the world is a hard, dark place. And when you don't have anything, you resort to things that you wouldn't otherwise. Can you be a lifeline for these children? Someone was for these little boys and girls, and it made all the difference in the world. Can you call 800-864-0200? Can you go to myfaithradio.com? Can you look at these children, look at their smiles? They're connected with one child because they're on a list. They're on a waiting list. They know about it. They know it's amazing. They've accepted and said, yep, we want to be in. Their parents have given permission. All the things are set up. They just need someone to sponsor them.
They just need you.
Just you. Just $39 a month. There's so many other things you could spend $39 a month on. Silly things. But you know what? This is going to have eternal impact. It's going to say to a little boy or a little girl that they matter, that they're seen. They're going to hear that Jesus loves them. We can't change their heart. We don't know if that means they're not going to automatically be a Christian, but they are going to see love like they've never seen it before. Surrounded by Christians, engulfed in a community. You might be their lifeline when they hear some really, really hard news. Can you be that for them?
This is your moment. Would you take this moment for one child? We're down to the final couple of minutes. So many kids need it, but if it's just you do it. If you become a champion, I believe more people will do it, but it's going to take you. The phone number is 800-864-0200. 800-864-0200, or meet these kids at myfaithradio.com. This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold.
Hi, this is Bill Arnold, host of the Afternoon Show. My friend and colleague, Susie Larson, will say that even when you feel discouraged, God is still there. He's still good. He cares about you and is in the business of fixing what is broken to make you whole. Experience His peace today. This month, thanks to our friends at Thomas Nelson, Faith Radio is giving away 100 copies of Susie Larson's new book, Waking Up to the Goodness of God, 40 Days Toward Healing and Wholeness. You can enter to win yours right now at myfaithradio.com. Connecting faith to life, Faith Radio.
One moment.
One moment.
One child.
One child.
I dream of life without the hard things that surround me.
I dream of a full life with more happy moments.
I am on a journey, and sometimes it's scary, which means I have to be brave.
So many children that are growing up today are going through things we can't even fathom. We've been talking about it all hour, whether they're going to the dump, trying to find food, or as you just heard from that little boy, he's scared. It's not easy, and he's saying, I need to be brave. You can help him be brave. You can set these children up in a position they otherwise wouldn't be able to have when you sponsor them. They have dreams. They have aspirations. They want to grow up and be something. Your gift of $39 a month makes a life-changing difference for one child. Maybe Pato. Little boy, Kenya, 11 years old. He's patient, perceptive, polite. He likes riding his bicycle, books. Most important people in his life are his mom and dad. He's thankful for God. He wants to be a transportation driver when he grows up. He has a dream. You can help him achieve that dream. Really, I think it comes down to the question we've been asking. God, what do you want me to do? God, what do you want me to do in this moment? Can you take one moment for one child? The number to call is 800-864-0200. I'll say it again. It's 800-864-0200. Or you can go to myfaithradio.com. You can meet these kids. You can see their smiles and their personalities. And think about it this way. You're not just changing their life. You're changing the life of their mother, their father, their communities, and you're changing your life as well. Can you give that moment? Can you give that hope for one child today by going to myfaithradio.com? Comes down to that question.
It really does.
What do you want me to do, God? What do you want me to do?
We're down to the final couple of minutes here for the Faith Radio One Child Partnership Sponsorship Drive. And I like what you said about Pato, 11 years old from Kenya. We've been praying all afternoon. We've been talking about Leo Han from the Philippines, 11 years old for a while. Been praying for him. He now has a sponsor.
Praise God.
Araby from Fridley, Minnesota, sponsoring Leo Han.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm just so excited. One of the things that just get me really excited is knowing that Leo Han won't go to bed one more night with that empty feeling. Wondering, hoping that somebody will step up and sponsor and help him, because as his dreams slowly start to fade away at 11 years old, without a sponsor or without a child champion, they just open wide open back up again. Araby is giving Leo Han a chance. Every kid deserves a chance. Will you give a kid a chance today? Just like William from Mounds View, Minnesota did for Samuel and Haiti. We were talking about him most of the afternoon too. Will you give these kids a chance? Will you change their life? I guarantee you will change their life, but will you make the call to do it, to stand up and say, hey, yep, count me in. I want to be a missionary. And you get to do it from the comforts of your own heated seats in your own car, your own couch, your own office, your own computer at myfaithradio.com or by calling 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. And I don't know why you guys, my name is Ben, by the way. This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold, here with Amanda and Wyatt. I don't know why I always think of kids in extreme poverty that must live in warm weathers. You know what I mean? Because there are kids in extreme poverty that are experiencing here in Minnesota. I think it's the wind chill is like 14 below. There are kids living in extreme poverty in this situation too, without coats, without warm homes. And most of the kids and families that I saw in the Dominican Republic along the Haiti border didn't have locks on their doors. They had windows, holes, but not like glass, you know? They're out there in the elements. And I've never seen extreme poverty like I did in Haiti. We didn't have the opportunity to go into Haiti because it's just too dangerous, but we walked across what they call the Massacre River, and right up to the checkpoint. And as I looked over, I thought I saw extreme poverty in the Dominican Republic, and it was bad. But what I saw across the river in Haiti was like the best thing that I can explain or describe it as is, a paper shredder. And then all that shred, and then if you ever get any outside of the garbage and it's so hard to pick up, it was just that all on the ground. Everywhere, as far as the eye could see. No trees, just mud and just like shredded paper. And people bathing themselves, using the restroom, washing themselves and their clothes, all in this really muddy, dirty, nasty water. And going, how can people live like this? And then not wanting to leave. First of all, I'm fighting that battle, and I don't know if you guys fought that too on your one-child trips, about never wanting to leave because you wanna help so badly. You don't want to leave these people there, but then never wanting to come back because it's so bad. You know what I mean? Because of what you saw?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I just knew that the people they're helping, I could help more by helping them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the Christians there that are giving their all, whether we're helping them or not, honestly.
Yeah.
Like they were helping kids and loving their neighbors before one child came along and helped them, and partnered with them. So to know that they are going to do all of what they can, and if we can help give them resources and fuel and the materials to love even better, that's the best way.
Right. And it takes a phone call right now. $39 a month to sponsor a child, whether it's Pato from Kenya, 11 years old, birthday November 23rd, wants to be a driver when he grows up. Maybe it's another child that you feel called to sponsor. Maybe when you call 800-864-0200 and you have a conversation and say, hey, I want to find a child named fill in the blank, or with the birthday of fill in the blank, or this country, will you help me? Or maybe we've had calls before with, I really want to sponsor a child with spina bifida or something like that. Call. If God is leading you, is putting something on your heart, would you call and have the conversation? The phone number is 800-864-0200. Or if you like me, I like to see and read stories, you can go to myfaithradio.com. There are a bunch of kids waiting for you there too.
One child you're not going to be able to sponsor is Jameska, because she just got sponsored right now. Praise the Lord.
Thank you.
Lanice from North Dakota stepped up and is sponsoring. I don't know about you, but I always find myself not being able to stop smiling when I know one more kid.
Why? Tell me why, Wyatt.
Because I'm thinking of that moment when they're going to find out they've been sponsored and just realizing how their life is going to change. And everything that's going to come after that because of this opportunity now. They get food, clothing, nutrition, medical assistance, anything they need. It's taken care of because you stepped up and sponsored a child. Warms my heart.
Yeah.
There's so many more that still need to be sponsored.
Right.
Can you do that one moment for one child?
And we're down to the final minute here on Afternoons with Bill Arnold. We've been praying for 10 children to be sponsored this hour. We're 5 away. 5 children. It's not going to happen without you. Will you take just one moment for one child to change their life? $39 a month. It's not like they're hitting the lottery, but they're going to feel like they did. Their life will be forever changed because you took this one brave step. Thank you for doing it. MyFaithRadio.com. These children will be up and waiting for you, or you call and have a conversation. 800-864-0200. That's 800-864-0200. Thank you for praying. Thank you for asking God, do you want me to sponsor one of these kids? This is Afternoons with Bill Arnold, and we are so grateful and honored to serve with you, to be able to talk to you and grow in our faith with you. Thank you for listening to Faith Radio.
Thanks for listening. Programming like this is made available through your support. Information available at myfaithradio.com.